Hi there, I am Tanya Windiger and I'm so excited that you came over to check this out because isn't it so frustrating when we're trying to reach all these goals. We have all these wishes and dreams and every time we head towards it, we kind of drop, we fail, we slip, we beat up on ourselves. It is just this vicious cycle, you know. Every time I thought, oh, let's go and make some healthy choices and eat, you know, healthy meals and so forth, I go to the shop and I buy an extra large block of chocolate and eat it all in one setting. You know, or when I thought I'm going to stop drinking, very same day I went to the bottle shop to buy a bottle of vodka, just to help me sleep. You know, I came up with all sorts of excuses. Yes, I did have struggles to sleep, but they weren't healthy choices. They weren't helping me. They just kept me stuck and miserable. So I don't know what it is, what kind of goals you are working on, whether this is just to get yourself out of bed or leave the house or apply for this job or enroll in a course or save money for a car, whatever it is that you're working on. I really want you to succeed this time and really catch yourself when you get hooked. And I want to explain this, so please stay with me. So when you're here, okay, trying, you know, we have all these wishes and goals and dreams that we want to reach. And, you know, I do a lot of visualization and that really helps, but it looks like a straight line, but it never really is for no one, whether you have a mental health disorder or not. Heading towards a goal, there's always ups and downs and days where things work better and not so good. But for me, I didn't actually identify with this person. I was this gobbly mess down there. Okay, because that is what interpersonal trauma does to you. It totally ruins your self-image, your self-concept, your confidence, you don't actually feel human at times, or at least I didn't, okay? So you're down there, okay? And you have all these really strong beliefs that I am damaged, okay? Ruined. I'm unworthy, okay? I'm dirty, okay? All these, and there's lots more. Okay, they're just mine, whatever they are for you. But they are really strong at pulling us down. Okay, they are those really toxic beliefs that were instilled upon us. Really, that comes all from the interpersonal trauma. But they're just really strong. We identify with those, and it's really crucial here that we kind of either give it a name or, you know, some people like to call it a story, like this is the I'm damaged story or something like that. I just like to call it my demons, okay? They are my demons, and I've got lots of them. But every time they come up, I can catch them now really quickly. Okay. Oh, here they are again, those demons, you know, what you got to say today? I guess it's going to be the same as yesterday, the day before, and so on. But guess what? I am not listening today. Okay, so we really need to learn to separate ourselves from this, to not identify so much with that. Okay, and here I can't stress enough. It's really important to have some professional help. I couldn't have gotten out of this really dark space without it. And I would have never been able to reach any of my goals. I wouldn't have had any professional support there at all. And the key here that helped me out, that's probably the one thing I really didn't want to address, that I didn't want to talk about, that I didn't want to believe. It was just the biggest struggle. So I'm going to change colour for that one. But the thing that I needed to help me move forward was a belief that I am worthy. Okay. And I know that is really hard. Okay. I don't know what it's like for you, but for me, I couldn't actually remember a time in my life where I felt worthy, where I felt lovable, the same as I could not remember a time where I felt safe. So I didn't know what these what does this actually feel like? What does this look like? What does this mean to feel worthy, to feel lovable? So this was this really strange concept to me. But this is like our foundation. We need this foundation to help us getting tracked back down there. And initially, for me, okay, I was down here, just trying to hold on to this kind of concept, I wasn't actually believing it or anything like that. It was more like, oh, my psychiatrist thinks I am worthy, but I'm still kind of down there. But eventually, I got to believe it, okay? And now I have this as a foundation. So every time I slip, I don't actually fall all the way back down there. Those demons come in, but I recognize them straight away. I don't let them pull me back down to this gobbly mess anymore. Okay, that is so crucial. And I think the key when I kind of realized that I can do this, I can change my belief system, I can change my behaviors, was when I read a couple of books actually of people who had really severe brain injuries, like traumatic brain injuries from car accidents and so forth. And they had to start from scratch. They had to learn how to eat, dress, brush their teeth, walk, and they had to learn all this again. And they did it. They had this whole story, how it was really horrible and it was so hard to stay determined and focused and keep going, when they just wanted to give up. And it was a really hard journey for them. But they did it. Okay, they got there. They could change the brain. They could form all those neuronal pathways again. And we have to prove these days our brain has tremendous capacity to change. Okay, so if we have the right professional support and so forth, and we go out and I love reading books, so that was another form. That's probably more of a self-help form, or doing online courses and things like that. I did all that as well, but I needed the professional, the one-on-one, face-to-face thing too, to get me there, to build those neuronal pathways, to help me feel safe talking to other people, to help me become more assertive and have some healthy boundaries and so forth. And I'm not talking about the boundaries where we put up these big safety walls around us to keep every person up. No, healthy boundaries and all this. I had to really rewire my brain and work really hard on this, but it didn't work till I started believing that I'm actually worthy. Okay, I'm worthy of having a joyous, fulfilling future, that I'm worthy of success, and all this kind of stuff. Because so many of you email me, it's like, how do you stop self-sabotaging yourself when you're at uni and things like that? It was so hard for me too. I really was struggling to get myself to study and do well at exams at times because I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel worthy of success. It didn't fit that picture. And as long as I have this picture, this mental thing in my head, and that identification that I'm that, every time I head to this, my brain's saying, hey, hang on, this isn't matching what you're telling me. So it pulls you back down. But once you can start believing that you're worthy, so your brain makes those associations, okay, healthy choices fits I'm worthy. So you're more likely to make those healthy choices for yourself. And the more often you do it, the more confident you get, the more you enjoy the process, the more you can see that you're moving towards your goals, and the more self-fulfilling this becomes. And it's really satisfying when you first reach those goals. And I always say, because I'm really terrible, I'm so good at dismissing any little milestones I reach, any little successes, they're just dismissed. But hey, if I slip or make a mistake, I can beat up on myself forever. Okay, slipping. So I really encourage people all the time, come on over, join our Facebook group. I have a close Facebook group as well, Complex PTSD and Thriving, and post it there. Celebrate, let us celebrate those little achievements as well when things go well, because it's really inspiring to read from other people, like I read those books from those people with those brain injuries. It is really inspiring to know, hey, it is possible our brain has tremendous capacity to change, and we can reach those goals, whether we have complex PTSD or not. So with that, as always, I hope you find it useful, but lots and lots of love and rainbows. Bye for now.